New York, big city of dreams. New York, big city of dreams.
What's going on? This is Jay Ellis from Nick of Time Show. Here, give you that Knicks talk just in the nick of time. And it's time once again to talk about these Knicks. The Knicks lose a tough game, a seesaw battle up in the mountains of Utah, 104-113. RJ Barrett had a nice little game, at least in the first half. Finishes with 23 points and 6 assists. Julius Randle looks like he's returned to old form and drops a 30-piece with 5 assists and 6 rebounds. Mitchell Robinson dominates today without Rudy Gobert in the starting lineup, gives you 19 points and 21 rebounds, career high 21 rebounds. Evan Fournier chips in with 16, and the bench gets obliterated by this Utah Jazz, with the tipping point being 30-11 advantage Utah. And we're all going to talk about the ins, the outs, the ups and downs of this loss to the Utah Jazz. But you already know what it is, man. Before we even talk about the details of the game, I have to introduce my guy, the man, the myth, the legend, the guy with the stats.
Ryan G's in the building. Knicks, I'm tired of your tears of sorrow that you caused me. I'm tired of it.
Yeah, we all tired, man. We all tired. We're tired of the abuse. This is an abusive relationship we're stuck in line. This is an abusive relationship. They get our hopes up. They run the ball. Mitch is flying all over the place. He's looking dominant. They give us hope. We're up, Ryan, up 12 points. 12 points coming into the fourth quarter, only to lose to this Utah Jazz. And it's heart-wrenching. It's heart-wrenching, but I can't say I didn't see it coming, bro. I can't say I didn't see it coming, because there's one thing that they have that we don't have. And we know what that is, Ryan? A closer. Yeah. All right? When the things got tight, they got to lean on Donovan Mitchell. They got to have him go ISO one-on-one and drive to the lane with Julius Randle draped over him like a cheap suit. We don't have these options here in New York Knicks land. And that to me was one of the biggest things, the biggest difference of the game in the fourth quarter execution. And let's get this thing going, man. Ryan, you already know what the deal is, man. You the stats and the facts, man. We lost this game, so you got to read these terrible stats.
All right, so hope y'all are prepared. So the Knicks lost 113-104 to the Utah Jazz. Of course, Julius Randle looked like his old self tonight. 30 points, 6 rebounds, 5 assists. Money making Mitch.
Yeah.
Pay that man. 19 points. Tied his career high. 21 rebounds.
Let's go.
2 steals. 3 blocks. Just a monster in the paint all game.
Gunshots from Money Making Mitch.
Yes, sir. Then we have RJ Barrett, 23 points, 7 rebounds, 6 assists, but he shot 8 of 25 from the field, so it wasn't a good shooting night for RJ Barrett. Evan Fournier, 16 points off of 5 of 12 shooting from the field. And I'm not even going to get to the bench, because the bench was just terrible today.
Yeah.
So we're going to get to
You like to say Basura. That's what you like to say.
Yeah, Basura. Yes, Basura. that was the bench tonight. And we're going to get to the team stats. So the Knicks out-rebounded the Jazz 56-49, which is a positive, but at the end of the day, it doesn't mean much, because off of the 16 turnovers the Knicks had, the Jazz had 27 points, which pretty much led to their victory.
Yeah, 16 turnovers. The Knicks started off, I think they had 6 turnovers in the half, so for them to finish with that and for them to score 27 off of turnovers lets you know the story. We was not getting back in transition. Transition defense has been a point of contention for us all season long, and it kicked us in the foot, especially because of the type of turnovers having. At one point, Ryan, Evan Fournier dribbled the ball off of his foot.
Bruh.
Like, whose man's is this? It's like Evan Fournier is so frustrating. Like he saved us so much. He's having a great January, great 2022 actually. But man, that hurt. Man, that absolutely hurt. And not only that, it's like when Julius Randle is starting the offense from like 50 feet outside of the 3-point line, when he was eating before all the from the free throw line under, people setting him up. Alec Burks setting him up, getting easy rebounds, running off of transition, even getting some walk-up threes. Like, that's the type of Randle that we wanted to see. End of the game happens. I don't know, man. The bench is so bad. I just feel like the bench was so bad that Tom had to pull them, and it wore out the starters, man, because I feel like two things was happening in that fourth quarter. One, the starters are a little bit tight. I feel like they got a little bit scared because there's a few open shots that they passed up. Randle was hitting that mid-range jumper all game. He passed up a wide open mid-range jumper with like a minute left. Two, I think they were gassed too. I do feel like they were gassed in that fourth quarter. Mitch played a lot of minutes, 36 minutes again, monster night, but he was not getting those rebounds in the fourth quarter that he was getting in the first three.
Yeah, man, it was definitely tied legs that led the Knicks to lose this game towards the end. And D Nice, I see you, man. So you want Burke stats? I'm gonna give you Burke stats because it's terrible.
Terrible.
He had 5 points on 2 of 10 shooting from the field, 6 rebounds, 1 assist. So there we go. But yeah, the Knicks had tied legs. Mitch was dominating pretty much all game. He was grabbing rebounds like crazy. He definitely took advantage of Rudy Gobert not being in the starting lineup. But towards the end of the game, my man was not grabbing no more rebounds. And then you saw him at the free throw line when he missed the free throw like wide left.
Yeah,
that lets you know everything. That man was just tired and gassed, and the Knicks starters were gassed at the end. And then, like you said, the Utah Jazz has Donovan Mitchell there to close out the game for them, while the Knicks just looked stagnant with the offense late in the game, and they couldn't find a way to close. But my issue with this game is, okay, so we're approaching the trade deadline, right?
Yes, we are.
So, of course, the chatter among Knicks land is the Knicks need a point guard. And by watching this game today, Burks and IQ didn't do anything to show that a point guard is not needed. Because there was a lot of situations where I'm looking at this game and I'm like, if the Knicks had a legit point guard, things would work out much better for them. And I don't want the Knicks to like make any rash moves where they give up a whole lot of pieces to bring somebody in. But damn, man, they're on a skid right now. It's not looking good because you have Denver coming up, then you have the Warriors coming up.
Yep.
And the Knicks have to do something before that trade deadline because a point guard is definitely needed.
I'm not even sure if the point guard situation is going to be solved this season. I feel like we're just going to have to experiment. We have Deuce McBride on the bench chilling. We have Jokic overseas who we have interest in. You already heard the Aaron Fox rumors has been floating around. That I'm not sure if that's a done deal or not. But I feel like I'm not sure if the point guard situation will be fixed this season necessarily. We might have some experiments happening, but I don't think it'll be fixed this season. And Kemba Walker, we'll start there. Kemba Walker misses the first game of the back-to-back, do the rest. So you have Alec Burks starting. And truth be told, I feel like, Thibs kind of prefers this, right? Because you saw what happened. Alec Burks was getting torched in the first half. I was calling for McBride because at one point Alec Burks had like 4 fouls. And I was like, okay. He had 4 fouls. IQ was erratic. And I was just like, you know what? Let's try McBride. Let's give McBride a try. Give him 2 minutes to see what he can do because it seems like things was working out. But I do give the Knicks adjusted though. Because Donovan Mitchell did score 26, I think it was like 26 points in the first half. The second half that he didn't score that much. He only scored I believe 6 points or so. But the Knicks changed the way they guarded him. They were switching on everything. They was bringing Mitch up to double. And it slowed Donovan Mitchell down considerably into the fourth quarter. But lo and behold, still we need a point guard because in the fourth quarter came, we didn't have a point guard to get us to our sets. We didn't have a guy who can finish. Now, right now, it's looking like RJ is trying to take that next step. The Bodman, he's been having a great month. Today he finishes with 23 points, 1 of 7 from 3, 8 of 25 from the field. But today it didn't seem like when the fourth quarter came, How did you feel about RJ running? I know I usually feel a little bit more comfortable in the fourth quarter when RJ has the ball in his hands as opposed to Randle. Well, how did you feel today, Ryan, when with RJ not touching the ball as much in the fourth quarter? Did you feel like that was a good move or bad move, or maybe because Randle was going, maybe he was comfortable with Randle having it going?
I'll say this: if you're going to go based off of performances since January, RJ Barrett probably would have been the better choice to have the ball in his hands late in the game to see if he can make something happen. But this is the game where I say that I'll make an exception because RJ Barrett was not shooting the ball well today. Julius Randle had it going, so I can understand why the ball was in Julius Randle's hands late in the game because he had the hot hand, and you're hoping that he can perhaps try to create double teams and then pass out the double teams and try to see if they can find open shooter and stuff like that, but it just didn't work out for them. So should the ball be in RJ Barrett's hand based on performances since the year started? Of course, because RJ Barrett's been our best player, since the year started. But this is the one game where I'm not going to put too much blame for the ball being in Julius Randle's hands since he was the guy that had it going tonight.
I kind of have that same feeling today. It's like he hasn't had it going in so long. I'm like, you know what? Let's see what happens. He seemed a lot more decisive. It's funny because he finished the first half of one turnover, and the first half one turnover. Then the end of the game, he has 5 turnovers. I'm like, yo, how do you do this every single time? You just find new ways to turn the ball over. I guess a talent in itself. But quietly, during this losing streak, Julius Randle is having like one of the best stretches of the season so far during a losing streak, which is kind of insane because I think this is like the 3rd game in a row where he shot a decent percentage. He shot 50% today from the field.
Yeah.
I think he shot 50% from the field the day before, and I think like high 40s or something the game before that. And he's been more decisive. And this is another time when he was the mid-range killer last season. Julius Randle was a maestro from the mid-range. Today, they were trying to switch on him, right? He was actually taking advantage of the mismatches today. Like when people were switching on him, he was able to shoot right over them cleanly. He wasn't doing that in that LA game. Today, he was doing it. So it seemed like Julius is starting to get his rhythm offensively. So if you're going to take some pros from this game, it's Julius Randle getting in the room offensively. RJ Barrett, first half RJ Barrett was amazing because he seemed like he was starting to hit that mid-range jumper with regularity off the dribble. And Mitchell Robinson, he's realizing that he's the man. Like with no Rudy Gobert in the middle, he was just like when the mice away, when the cat's away, the mice will play. He just dominated. It almost seemed like the game plan for the Knicks was just to miss the shot, so Mitchell Robinson could get it.
Yeah, man, and on top of that, like Mitch had 10 offensive rebounds, so that's a crazy number right there because he was just grabbing the boards. Like Utah literally had nobody in the paint that could stop Mitchell Robinson. He was just dominating like crazy, and with RJ Barrett, I know RJ Barrett had a tough shooting night, but I'll give RJ Barrett this, though. I like the defensive effort on Donovan Mitchell because he really stepped up to the plate and locked down Donovan Mitchell for stretches where Donovan Mitchell was missing shots and couldn't take over the game like he wanted to.
Yeah, I agree. I definitely agree. I think defensively, the whole team did well on Donovan Mitchell. From Mitch, who was blocking shots, getting 10 offensive rebounds, a career high rebounding night, actually finishing through contact tonight. Mitchell Robinson, he was dominating, deterring shots at the rim, closing out on shooters at 3-point line, stealing the ball. Like Robinson was all over the place. It seemed like the team defense was great with RJ and Robinson and Julius Randle switching on to Donovan. But it also seemed like once Robinson left, that whole dynamic changed. Because when Noel came into the game after that, it just seemed like that energy pretty much dropped down. As a matter of fact, not even just Noel, when the second unit got into the game, it seemed like that's when the real struggles start to happen. Especially, you know, and because, you know, and I guess another pro, I mean, if you want to call this a pro, we got to see a little bit of Cam Reddish today. We got Cam with no Grimes. Grimes was out with a sore knee. No Kemba Walker because he's on resting on the back-to-back. We saw Cam Reddish play. He had a couple of flashes today. What did you think about Cam's game today, man?
Yeah, like you said, Cam had a couple of flashes. There are a few plays that you know I like to point to. There was this one play where I forgot who had the ball, but he was double teamed, and then Cam had the wherewithal to cut to the basket, and I think he got fouled on that play when he got the ball to try to get the layup. So Cam added an element there that the Knicks have been missing all season. Knicks hardly make cuts to the basket, so I was proud of that.
Yeah.
Defensively, you know, when he's guarding a guy 1-on-1, he's still a good defender, but he still struggles when he's coming off screens.
Yeah.
You know, he struggled in that aspect.
And you could tell he's struggling with some of the rotations too. Like I felt like he was late on a couple of rotations for wide open threes, was kind of contributed to that the comeback that happened in that third quarter.
Yeah, but you know, like I think for me, I think it's really hard to critique Cam Reddish because just for the simple fact that he's gotten so many DMPs and you throw him into the game.
Yeah.
You know, so you can't really expect him to do really well. You know, it's like I like to compare this to like the way the Knicks use Frank Ntilikina. You know, like you can't expect a guy to be on the bench for all this time and expect him to just perform when you just throw him in the game like that. You know what I mean? Like, he's had so many DMPs, you really can't expect much from Cam Reddish. We need to see how this guy does when he gets consistent minutes. But for what I've seen, it's like, it's erratic. It's like he had a few good moments. He had a few bad moments.
Yeah. Nah, absolutely. We missed some. You're missing the steadiness of our bench. We kind of missed Grimes a little bit today and his consistent defense. Maybe he hits the three. Derrick Rose is on the way back. We're definitely missing a floor general to kind of keep steady that second unit. This is one of those games where if we had our second unit was clicking on all cylinders, it quickly wasn't erratic because it was tailored too quickly today, right? There was times when quickly was setting people up for easy lobs and easy dunks, and then there was times when he's chucking threes when he wasn't supposed to. So if those things didn't happen, then this game today might have been different because we overcame a lot. Like, we were in this game despite shooting 8 for 33 from 3, 24%, despite missing a crap load of free throws, 24 from 35, 68%. We were still in this game on the road in the fourth quarter. So it's like, this is one of those games where the details matter. The details matter. You can't turn over the ball in key moments. You have to hit your free throws, and you have to execute, and you have to hit these open shots, man. And hopefully when Derrick Rose comes back, hopefully Derrick Rose comes back, it will steady the ship. And you know what? Cam Reddish, he might get some more burn right now that Grimes is out with a sore knee. We're not sure how long that's going to deter him and have him out the game, but hopefully Cam Reddish gets on track too. I like what you said. He did move well across off the ball. RJ Barrett found him for a nice dish moving off the ball. He's supposed to be known for his 3-point shot, catch and shoot threes. Maybe once he gets more comfortable, he'll start to hit those threes again. Because we're gonna need him. If Grimes is gonna be out, we're gonna need that length, and we're gonna need him to be consistent in the defensive end to kind of help this second unit stay afloat, because 11 points and the atrocious defense from the second unit, not good. Second unit, we're used to them overperforming, having the pluses on the plus minus side. All the second unit had a negative. And Cam Reddish, negative 21. Emmanuel Quickly, negative 20. Nerlens Noel, negative 16. If you want to look at the loss, a lot of that had to do with the second unit and missed free throws and missed threes.
Yeah, most definitely. All
right. Shout out to the chat, man. Shout out to everybody else rocking with the KOT show. I know we got Reaper coming in the call, but before we get to that, I'm gonna just say this real quick. Hold on one second. You guys already know. You guys already know. Shout out to Fubu TV. Fubu TV for you Knicks fans who want to watch Knicks games and you're tired of using Comcast, you don't want to use traditional cable, all you gotta do is sign up for Fubu TV. They don't have blackouts. They have live sports channels and other cable channels for you to watch, and there is no contracts as well. So all you gotta do is click that link, and you'll pay every month for Fubu TV, and you can cancel at any time. All right, because there is no contracts. All right, links will be in the description, and links will be in the chat for Fritz. All right, here we go. All right, first caller up, we have our guy Reaper. Reaper, what's going on, man? What do you want to talk about?
Hey, what's up, fellas? AJ Ellis. What's up, Ryan G? Thank you guys for taking my call. Yeah, I mean, it's, I think I'm going to keep saying this with you guys. Every time I'm going to call you guys, they're going to slap your head and say, why this again? But Tom Thibodeau, this is why he should have been playing Deuce McBride a little bit early in the season.
How did I know he was going to say that?
He just it's crazy, but it's so painfully obvious, He put all his eggs in in the Manu Quickly basket in terms of developing like a point guard for a second unit. And, maybe Miles McBride, we don't see the practices. Maybe there's something he doesn't like from Miles during practice, and maybe that's why he doesn't want to play him. But tonight is just you needed to do something, right? And it's, it's almost like he doesn't care. It's almost like he's a gambler. He's got a losing hand. And it's and he just keeps taking losses and he's about to lose everything. And it's like everybody knows it, except it's almost like he's got paralysis or something. And
right.
He just can't, make that decision to move on, to try something different. And so, it's unfortunate. So that's one thing. And the other thing is Julius Randle, he had a great game, but man, he was terrible in that fourth quarter.
Yeah.
Late in that fourth quarter.
Yeah.
Terrible decisions. I mean, you guys talked about when he drove in the lane, he had a little man on him. Actually, he was wide open when he got to the lane, and he passes the ball out to the three-point line. It's crazy stuff like that. He does it constantly, And now, even Quickly and some of the other guys, a lot of these younger players be doing the same dumb stuff. Quickly did it earlier this game.
Yeah, he passed the OB.
They've been doing it the whole season, and it's so annoying, And it's I just don't understand why, and I think they get it from him because it's just you see it so often. They'll drive in the lane sometimes, and they have a shot. You can just take a shot, and then they'll just pass the ball because there's somebody who's got a little bit of space at the three-point line, and then they'll pass it to him, and the person clanks it, and it's just so it is a little crazy. And of course, I don't know what's going on with Nerlens. Maybe he's not healthy, but he's been atrocious,
Man.
So
it's crazy because Nerlens the one saved our season last season when Mitch went out. He was the reason why we was one of the best defenses in the league. It was him and Reggie. All of a sudden, he just became a shell of himself. I don't know what happened to dude.
Yeah, well, it's crazy. He's not effective at defend his shots. It's I told you guys the last few games his defense his percentage when people are when he challenges shots is it's absurd. He's constantly it's constantly over 70%, and that's crazy,
Yeah.
So he's not stopping anything, So so that's sad. And of course, Alec Burks at the point guard. I just it's just crazy to me. You have Miles McBride on the bench, just try it.
This is
at least for defensive purposes,
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, most
with you.
definitely. I mean, then we had damn Alfred Payton at point guard last week. Come on now.
Yeah, nah, he likes his big point guards, man. I'm because even as bad as Alfred Payton was what 6'5"?
Yeah,
I think he likes his big point guards, man. If you're not going to be Derrick Rose with your breakdown speed, he wants size so you can switch. That's the way I'm seeing it right now.
But the crazy thing, B. Brooks is not a point guard. That's
the
crazy part. Honestly, at this point, because you have Barrett, he's becoming more of a primary playmaker. I mean, they're better off playing starting quickly at the point guard position. Although he's playing horrendous, but then so is Burks. I mean, like,
Yeah.
so you might as well just start quickly because I don't know. It's just it's a little crazy. I mean, he doesn't have a ton of options either. Is like especially. But the reason why he doesn't have a ton of options because he painted himself. He kind of cornered himself, because he didn't want to play Miles McBride early in the season. Now he's got point guards. All his guards are struggling. And then the other thing is like, I'm not a coach or anything, but man, his offense is atrocious, especially for the second unit. Even like the previous games where the second unit have struggled and they had Grimes, it'll be quickly Grimes, and you got Obi. I mean, okay, your best players right now, your most consistent players on that second unit is Obi and Grimes, and it's like they don't run anything for them. There's no plays for Obi, no plays for Grimes, and it's just like and Obi all the time there's a stupid dribble handoff at the 3-point line they do with him, and instead of running a pick and roll, man. I mean, do something.
Yeah, Quickly's had stretches where like it looks like he's getting it, and then he'll have stretches like today where he's passing when he's supposed to be shooting and shooting when he's supposed to be passing, and he's like all turned around and doesn't know where to go. And today was one of those days. Like he passed up Alec Burks wide open in the corner for 3 to drive in the lane to like a contested 2, and then like after that he gets right at the rim and passes the ball off to Obi for 3, and it's like he's wires across right now. He's doing his best Randle impression right now. So I mean, I hope he gets it back together, because he's racked up a good amount of assists in a certain amount of time, but today just wasn't it, man. It just wasn't it, and that's why that second unit was the point guard play for the second unit was not good. It just was not.
Yeah. I mean, it's, and he gets that stuff from Julius. But, yeah, the coach, I'm really starting to realize is like, his offense is just like, it's almost like so with the coach is like,
He depends on reads. He depends on reads. Like, you have to make the offense. Yeah. Like, so it's not set plays. It's like the guards there have to look at the what's happening on defense and make a read based on that, and they're not reading the game correctly, and that's why, depending on who's running it, it looks bad or good.
Yeah, but with the second unit, I don't know if you can, especially with IQ struggling the way he is. I don't know if it's a good idea to run that, and then you give Julius Randle the way he's been struggling. I mean, like he shows he can barely read the defense properly. Then it's just like I just think it's a terrible. I just think it's a terrible idea. I think maybe you can run it sometimes if you got RJ doing the bulk of like the playmaking.
Right.
But with Julius, I mean, that's just a terrible idea. And then of course Fournier is like crazy turnovers and like he just does like sometimes he's like a lot of boneheaded plays.
Yeah.
And just a lot of these guys we just depend way too much. Like we're dependent way too much on like people that make way too much mistakes. Like that. Fournier makes a lot of boneheaded plays. So you depend on him in the crunch time.
That's the front office.
And then Julius does the same thing.
That's the front office, man. Like at this point, it's like maybe you can try McBride. That's the only thing I can say he could try that he didn't try. But I mean, RJ had the ball a lot in his hand today, man. RJ had the ball a lot in his hand today. Alec Burks was running point. IQ was running point. And I mean, Grant, we was in the game for. I'll say this: we were in the game for a lot of this game. So it's like I feel like we maxed out the talent that we had on the team today. Like, to be honest with you, I mean, could the coach have put McBride in? Yeah, he could have put McBride in at a certain point. But even though he didn't put McBride in, we were up. We were up going into the fourth quarter, by 12. So I'm not gonna go too hard on Thibs today. Like this is one of those things where we just don't have the talent to compete. One, we don't have the talent, and two, the chances we had, we blew some chances that we had. Like you can't miss 10 free throws.
Yeah, I mean that's definitely true. That's a big part of it too. But the thing with Thibs is like it's almost like I don't feel like his offense even makes anyone on his team really better. I guess that's what I was trying to say earlier. I feel like he just kind of leans on his talents and what they're good at. It just his offense. I'm realizing now he's not making anyone on his team better. You hear about some players. There are a lot of good teams. And it's like they'll have like these role players that play really well, and they get and everyone is afraid to sign them because like they're like, oh, I think he's assistant players. So there's a lot of coaches like that make their players look a lot better than they are.
Because of the
and
system.
it's just like,
right.
Yeah. And his system just doesn't,
Good
I mean,
point.
you look at Obi Toppin, it's kind of just unbelievable. How we're wasting that talent there.
Yeah, because
So,
he's pick and roll in the beginning of the season, and now he's back to shooting threes exclusively. It's kind of crazy.
Yeah.
yeah, leaving them in the corner.
Yeah,
And one last thing I just wanted to say too is like you guys are right. It was like because the second unit struggles so much, and again they struggle so much because Thibs' offense is just trash. That's why they're struggling. But I think Mitchell Robinson played 10 minutes in the fourth quarter. He was gassed, so he couldn't really control the paint like he was earlier in the game. Because if you look at the rebound totals, like you look at basically a lot of his totals, he in the fourth quarter, I think he had 3 rebounds. I mean, which is good, it's not bad.
right.
But the previous quarters, he had like 5 rebounds and above. He had 7,
Right.
then 5 in the second quarter, 6 in the third, and they had 3 in the last quarter. He was just gassed.
Yeah, he was
by the end of
gassed.
the game.
And it was
So-
and then he was running up to a 3-point line to cover down to Mitchell, and then running back to the center position, and then trying to get he was working. Mitchell was working today, man.
That's the crazy thing I was telling you guys about is like, it's really crazy. Like it's him, RJ, lead the team in contested shots, and it's kind of crazy to see him. He's like they got him flying everywhere. I don't know. I'm not like again. I'm not a coach, but it just is kind of crazy. It doesn't feel right that he's like flying everywhere. Like he's all over the place. It's kind of crazy. It just seems like the rotations are just something wrong with them. The defensive rotations is just off, So
I don't think. I mean, I'll push back on that. I mean, he's a defensive coach, and that's what you're gonna need to do to play defense is fly around everywhere. But I feel like the offense is more a problem personally. But yeah. Thanks for calling, Reaper, man. I appreciate the call though.
All right, thanks,
man. Whew, man. Yeah, man. This is a tough one, man. It's a tough one, but one thing I can say after all this is pay that man, Ryan. Pay that man. Pay that man. Pay that man. Pay that man. Oh, we got another caller? Okay, cool. We have another caller. Before we get into that, I'm going to just say this. Mitchell, because you already know. Shout out to Ryan G who put down a little room report breakdown. The Detroit Pistons, as you know, are interested in Mitchell Robinson. I'm not interested in giving them anything, though. And I think Knicks Nation and Ryan G would agree that that man has to stay. Pay that man. Because you see the difference, right? You see the difference, right? And listen, here's the thing about the news from this. And I feel like we haven't talked about it enough on this channel. The Knicks can offer Mitchell Robinson money. They can offer him a trade extension. They can sign him to a contract anytime. They can sign him to a contract at any time. So they're waiting for a reason. Like, I'm not sure if they're waiting to sign him because they feel like they want him to test the market to see how much the market wants to pay for him, and then they can match. Also, I don't know if they're trying to wait and see if they can include him in a trade package and, keep the money low by including him in a trade package or something else. Or what? So, the fact that the Knicks haven't signed him yet and they have the option to is something interesting to look at. But at the end of the day, it's obvious that his conditioning and his strength is really is helped elevate his game to another level. He's being more consistent. He's finishing through contact. He's falling a lot less. He's taking advantage of the mismatches he's given on the center position, and Mitch is performing. So pay that man, show him the money, open up that checkbook, and I'm sure Ryan G agrees.
Yeah, man, most definitely. But for me personally, I see Fritz just put in the chat 4 years, $55 million is the max they can offer now. They can offer more once he's unrestricted, and that's my thing. Because I'm like, I don't know if waiting until free agency is the right thing to do, because the way Mitch is playing right now, a team's going to be willing to pay him. And I don't want it to get to a point where a team is offering him a whole lot of bread.
Yeah.
And for the Knicks to keep him, they're going to have to match that. So I don't know why the Knicks don't re-sign him from now and have him locked in so that they don't have to possibly overpay in free agency.
Right. I mean, that's a 2-point seat. Like, players can also turn down money. Like, so I don't know if that could be the case too. Cause you know how players are. Like I'm gonna test the market, see if I get more. So I'm not gonna take this little 55 for 4 years. That could be No, because they have to offer him the contract. They never even offered him. So you know what?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. They didn't even offer the contract.
They didn't even offer him the contract. So you're right. You're absolutely right. So I don't know, Knicks. I don't know what you're waiting for. I don't know if you're trying to put him in a trade package or you're trying to have him test the market. But talk to that man before he hit the market, because he's looking scary right now. It's scary out.
Exactly.
And if we lose Mitch in the offseason, we better have a stretch 5 lined up. For sure. Somebody. Miles, Mo Bamba, something. Somebody.
Exactly.
All right. And we're going to get some more rumors later on after this next call. But next caller up, I think we have Emmanuel.
Yes, sir. Yeah, this is Emmanuel.
What's going on?
Just as frustrated, man. The second game in a row, we blew another double-digit lead. And, I was watching the post game with Wally and Monica, very good insider, analysts, by the way. Like they said, point guard. I just wish that, that Rose was here. If Rose wasn't hurt, we probably, our record would have been at least 500 or better. I mean, let's be fair.
Right.
I mean, it's just frustrating. I mean, now everybody's laughing at us, and now people bring up the Reds thing, and I'm not giving up yet, because it's just unfair, because we've been through a lot. I just don't want to be billed like every year, because you never know what was going to happen in years, because I have never been a tank person, right, and all that stuff. Because of the fact is, because every time when we tank, it's no guarantee we get a top pick. I mean, 2015, 2019 are examples, but I haven't said that. Listen, man, look, I just hope that Thursday can give us at least a little hope. I mean, and that's it. I mean, yeah, that's all I can say. But good night, guys, and keep up the good work.
All right, man. Salute to you, man. Salute to Emmanuel. He says, I do not want to rebuild. Ryan G. He does not want to rebuild.
I agree. I mean, look, the Knicks have Thibodeau. Thibodeau is not a tanking coach. So with Thibodeau here, you cannot tank. And I feel like even though the Knicks are on they're on a little losing streak right now, and I think they're 5 or 6 games under 500 right now. Mm-hmm. The Knicks are still within striking distance, so I don't really see that as a tanking situation. I see that as a situation where let's see what they can do at the trade deadline. See if they can bring in hopefully they can bring in a point guard at a reasonable price, and see if that would change fortunes around. And then also Rose is supposed to come back later in the month too, so let's see how things go when Rose comes back. So I'm not giving up on the season yet. I'm not tanking yet. I would still try to see what if I was in the front office, I would still be looking forward to being like, okay, what can we do to help this team win more games to get into the playoffs?
I'm not sure where I'm at right now, to be honest with you. The East is kind of tight right now, and there's a few things that's happening right now. I'm starting to see Julius Randle play his best basketball, but it's not translating into wins. You know what I'm saying? That's one thing. But the second also thing is too, is like we're on borrowed time with some of these young guys. Like you want to see Grimes get more playing time. You want to see Cam Reddish get more time. You want to see Obi get more time. Because if we don't make the playoffs, then it's kind of like, because of what Thibs is doing, he's kind of sacrificing playing time for these guys. Like, once again, Obi Toppin got 10 minutes. Cam Reddish gets 15 minutes today. So it's like, it's one of those things where kind of damage you don't. It's kind of like we're just caught in the middle right now. And the middle is the worst place to be. The middle is the worst place to be. Like when you're right on the edge. But I kind of feel like if we keep tanking, if we keep sinking like this ship, I feel like we might. I think I'm leaning towards playing more of the young guys after the trade deadline. I think I'm leaning more towards that. And here's the thing, and we'll go right into it, Ryan, because Ryan, you already know. It's been recorded by Mark Stein that the Knicks are interested in CJ McCollum, right? CJ McCollum is a guy in Portland who I always liked. Like, I think I mentioned him a few times on this program. He's had a collapsed lung. He's been fighting a bunch of injuries. And when you're talking about guys who are closers, when you're talking about guys who can hit tough shots, who can score in 3 levels, CJ McCollum, to me, checks those boxes. But I guess the question is, what would you give up for him? And I'm gonna let Ryan kind of take over this conversation, because you kind of broke down what you felt like the Knicks would want for CJ. So I'll let you take over at this time, Ryan.
Yeah, so I don't know if y'all checked out my latest episode of G's Corner. So I touched on it in the video. So CJ McCollum at the moment is earning 3 years, $100 million contract. He's on a 3-year, $100 million contract, and right now he's earning $30 million a year. So straight swap is not going to work for the Knicks, because the Knicks have nobody on their roster that is earning $30 million a year. And on top of that, both teams are cash strapped, so the money has to match. And I was messing with the ESPN trade machine, and I went based on what the Knicks said that they're interested in trading. They basically said that Kemba Walker, Evan Fournier, and Nerlens Noel is available for trade. And on top of that, they said that they are willing to attach Burks to one of those veterans for a trade. And when you use the ESPN trade machine to really check out how the money works out, ironically enough, Fournier and Burks works to make that trade go through for CJ McCollum. And I was saying that if the Blazers were interested in that type of trade, that would basically kill 2 birds with 1 stone, because you bring in CJ McCollum, that he's a good player. He will definitely help out the Knicks. I don't know if it's significant help, but he will definitely help make the Knicks better. And on top of that, you free up that spot in the rotation for Cam Reddish to take over, and then the Knicks can see what they can get out of Cam Reddish for the rest of the season. My thing is, I don't know if the Blazers are willing to take on 2 veterans, even if the Knicks throw in like a young player or a pick, because right now the Blazers are in sell mode, which means the Blazers are going to be looking for young players and they're going to be looking for picks. So I don't know if the Blazers are going to be willing to take on Fournier's contract, where Fournier got like 3 years remaining, and Burks is an easy contract. So I think they would take on Burks if a young player or a pick is involved. So my whole idea of the trade is, I ask myself this question: can CJ play point guard? Because if CJ comes, he's going to help, but it's not going to be significant help because he's not a point guard. Now we can see what happens when Rose comes back. Maybe when Rose comes back and he plays with CJ McCollum, that might be a game changer. But
right.
I don't see that as like a significant step forward. That might help the Knicks win a few more games, but at the end of the day, I think point guard is the more major need.
Yeah, and I know a lot of conversation is CJ has played some point guard, right? Because they're saying that he has played some point guard. I feel like with Damian Lillard out, I feel like he's been sharing some more of the duties since he's been out. I think he had like a 7-assist game the other day, but he's not like a pure point guard really, right? He's more of a shooting guard at that point. So that's one thing. One thing to think about. Two, the second thing to think about, Tom Thibodeau players, right? Is he a guy who's going to be a real defensive guy? We already know what Tom Thibodeau likes. Tom Thibodeau likes defense. He's a defensive guy. No, not really. But like, so on that regard, you would say no. But on the flip side, if you're thinking, you know what, we can package Evan Fournier and Kemba Walker, or Evan Fournier and Alec Burks. If we package Evan Fournier and Alec Burks, right? Like Ryan said, maybe you have to throw in another player to make the salary work. The other player that we play with is the real main concern, because we don't want to really mortgage our future for a guy who's 30 years old, right? That's the main pause if you against this. The money, some people's like, oh, the money. I don't care that much about the money if we're getting rid of Evan Fournier. And it's like a 2-for-1 thing, because at least at that point, right? Say we get McCollum here for $30,000, and we trade away Fournier and Burks, then your glut at small forward is kind of solved. Now Cam is getting minutes. You know what I mean? Like that pathway for Cam to get minutes, to at least get 15 minutes a night, is there. Because for him to get these minutes, we need to get like a 2-for-1 somewhere. And at the same time, you get a guy who can actually close the game a lot better than anybody else we have here. So that's the pro. The con is, what do they want? Like Ryan G said, because if you're going to add a quickly or some first round picks, that's when things get a little bit dicey for me. And that's for the front office to really figure out. Because like we said before, the news has been always that Ian Begley said today that the Knicks are going to be looking to clear a roster spot so they can play Cam more. And we also heard that Alec Burks, they're not interested in giving away Alec Burks as a 1-to-1 deal. So if you put two and two together, it looks like they're trying to package Alec Burks and maybe Evan Fournier, or maybe even Kemba Evan Fournier to bring McCollum here. That's what it seems like to me anyway.
And I wholeheartedly agree.
Yeah. And depending on how, if they're looking to save money, like we said, if you're looking at the salary, all CJ's years are guaranteed. Burks has a team option. So they save $10 million by signing Burks in a year, because they can just have him play next season and then cut him. Or they can go with the Kemba Walker route, and it's the same kind of deal. Because it's like Kemba Walker's only a 2-year deal. So, something to look at. Let me know in the chat, how are you feeling about, I didn't even read the chat yet, I've just been cycling through these things. How do you feel about how do you feel about the possibility of adding CJ McCollum to these New York Knicks? You know what? And you know what? I see somebody's in the queue. Before I get to the queue, gunshots to Alex, who sends a $4.20 super chat, says Mitch bounding and astounding like a man possessed. Shout out to my guy Alexander. All right. All right, cool. So next caller up, we got Nick 'em up.
Hello.
Yo,
What's going on, Nick 'em up, man?
what's up, Taylor? What's up, Ryan? How y'all doing?
We doing all right, bro.
Man, we're good, man. We're good.
Tough loss, but I didn't expect to win, so I'm not too sad about it.
Yeah, I ain't expect to win either.
Yeah. So I got a question for you guys. Trade questions. I know Detroit's interested in Mitchell. I love Mitchell. Really hate to see him go. Now I don't want to lose him for just money, to tell you the truth. So we can get something for him, opposed to losing him for money. I know, JLS, I think you were high on Killian Hayes.
Yeah,
what if they would trade Killian Hayes?
No.
What if they would trade Killer Williams for Mitchell straight up? Well, yeah, you say no now, but in the end, if he walks away for money,
I mean,
you're like, damn, we should have took that trade. But
if he's walking, if they have an indication that he's going to walk, of course trade him.
Yeah.
Then trade him if they have an indication he's going to walk. But personally, you seen today, you seen the last month or two, like you seen our defense, like he's making a huge difference.
I wouldn't trade him. I would pay him.
Pay that man.
I'm just throwing that out there hypothetically.
You trying to trip me up?
I know we need a point guard, but I mean, yeah, nah. I know we need a point guard. We should have went after Lonzo instead of freaking Evan. We should have, gave him Knox.
Right.
And we would have had at least Lonzo. But whatever.
I wanted Lonzo this offseason, and the Knicks ain't go after him.
Yeah. We had the opportunity.
Yeah. I was flip-flopping on him.
And he's tall, too.
I was flip-flopping on him. I was in and out on Lonzo, but, he ended up being good.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, he played defense, and his three-pointing, percentage went up, so his shooting got better. And he was playing defense. So, if anything, he would have helped us out in that aspect of the game.
Absolutely.
Now, I have another question. Jalen Brunson. I know they're not going to let him go, and then they're saying they ain't going to trade him. But if they would you trade quickly for him? And the thing is, Brunson's going to cost them money quickly. I think he's on the contract. I think another 2 years after this year. If I'm not mistaken. I'm not looking it up, but so they'll still have a two guard to pair up with Luka.
Quickly for Brunson?
Yeah.
That's a good question.
But here's the thing though, because Brunson trade, like, people think that trade's gonna be easy. It's not gonna be easy trade to make because both Dallas and Knicks are over the cap, and Brunson's only earning like 1.5 mil a year, so it has to be like. So Dallas is gonna probably have to throw like another piece, and the Knicks are gonna have to like. So it's the money's gonna have to match. So that's the thing.
You don't think it'll match? Quickly can't be making too much money though. Quickly's contract. I haven't checked, but I mean, Quickly's contract can't be that much.
No, he's talking about whoever they add. Ryan is saying whoever the Dallas add to the contract, to the deal, we will have to match. That's what he's saying.
No, I'm saying if it was straight up, you can't do it straight up. Yeah, but if it was straight up, couldn't you trade them straight up if it matches? I mean, I don't know. I'm not looking at their salary, and I didn't check that.
I don't think I'm ready to give up on Quickly just yet, man. I don't think I'm ready to give up on Quickly just yet, to be honest.
I feel you, but we need a point guard.
Yeah, we do need a point guard.
Yeah.
And he's still young. Brunson's still young, so. And, Dallas doesn't necessarily, plus they got Quickly for 2 years. They don't have to pay him. They got to pay Brunson. And then I don't know if they're going to be able to afford to pay everybody.
Yeah, I mean, Brunson's going to want 120. What? Brunson's going to want 120.
Exactly.
Mitch is going to want money too. We got RJ coming up in a couple of years. Yeah, it gets a little. I don't know if I want to play. I don't know. I'm not ready for that. I don't think I want to play Quickly yet. I want to keep that rookie deal. I understand that Brunson gives on the defensive end. He's a little bit more steady, for sure. But yeah, I'm not sure if I'm ready for that deal. What do you guys think in the chat?
So I think it'd be better for the Knicks to go after a point guard that's already under contract. I think for the Knicks to go after Brunson and then have to pay him in the offseason, then on top of that, they got to pay Mitch and they got to pay RJ coming up. I think that's going to be a bit troublesome.
I mean, I want to go after Obama. We would have to pay him too.
Right. Well, he's restricted though, is he not?
Yeah,
if he's a free agent.
Yeah, he should be restricted.
Yeah.
So
maybe we can.
No guarantee we'll get him unless we trade.
Yeah,
unless we try to. They got to lose him.
We should have traded him for Knox last season when he was having a down year. Damn it. I mean, we got Cam now, so I guess whatever.
Yeah, I put in the trade tracker myself for McCollum, which I really kind of don't want because he's too old. Doesn't fit the timeline. Type of player, can't really. I mean, point guard-ish. I mean, I guess he could do what Burke does, probably better. But for what? For what though?
It's one of those things where he's not super old, but because of the injuries that he's had, he seems older than what he is. You know what I mean? Like he had like a back injury the year before, and he had a collapsed
Right,
lung.
but
Yeah, which is concerning.
it is. But I just don't think 2 years. I mean, he's not going to really be there after the 2 years. And I know I hear, there's free agents going to be available in those 2 years. We could possibly match it up to trade a disgruntled free agent. I'm tired of praying that someone's coming. So if they come, great. But if they don't, we got to develop and just do our own thing and stop trying to pray that someone's going to come and save us.
Yeah.
So, but for the McCollum, I did plug in 3 players. I don't know if they'll be willing to take the 3 players, but they're short contracts. It'll be Kemba, Burks, and Noel.
I'll do that in a heartbeat. Kemba, Burks, and
their
Noel.
contracts
Actually,
match for them. Yeah. Their contracts match for them, and remember, they only have 2 years too, so it's not like, and they can buy out Kemba and flip Burks themselves. Maybe someone else has 3-team trade to take Burks and give them a pick or something if they don't want Burks.
Yeah, I would do that in a heartbeat.
Because they're trying to free up money. So.
Nah, I'll definitely do that.
But yeah, I would try to do something like that before just to really get. I mean, the thing is, do you think we would have to add something? Because I personally, I don't know. Some people are high on McCollum, thinking, we got to add a pick to it. I wouldn't want to add any picks to it unless it's a second rounder. But I ain't giving them no first.
Yeah, I don't want to give up a first either. I don't want to give up a first or a young piece. I would rather give up a second. I'm just wondering, in situations like that, when a guy who averages 20 points a game steadily for his entire career and shoots over 37% from 3 steadily his entire career, usually teams like that would want at least a pick for him. The only thing that might deter certain people is his injury history. You know what I mean? But McCollum is still a player, man. He's like a 3-level scorer who can get you 20, and I do feel like he's how good he is understated because he's kind of in Dame's shadow a lot. So I feel like he's better than what he shows because he's in Dame's shadow. But at the same time, he's like the injury history is still a little bit concerning. He's like an old 30. So like, are the injuries behind him? I don't know. Like if you're a guy on the Knicks and you're trying to bargain, you go, I'm concerned about the injury, so I don't want to give up a first. Here's the seconds. Will they go for it? I don't know, but I might go that route. What do you think, Ryan?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, I wouldn't do that trade. Only for the simple fact that I don't know if I'm comfortable with the logjam at the wings with RJ, Fournier, CJ. Like, I don't know especially with Thibs as a coach, I don't know what that's going to mean for Grimes minutes.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what that's going to mean for Cam's minutes. Giving Thibs like Fournier, CJ, and he has RJ Barrett. I'm kind of iffy on that move, just for the simple fact that it might cut Grimes minutes. It might not give Cam Reddish much minutes as well.
Well, if Burks is playing backup point guard and small forward, he's gone, right? And then Kemba is gone. That means it'll be Derrick Rose will be the point guard, right? It'll be Derrick Rose being the point guard, and that should open some minutes for at least Grimes. Well, I can see what you're saying.
Because you're going to have to move somebody to the bench. Who are you going to move to the bench? Fournier, CJ,
right? Because then you still have
Barrett.
Fournier. Because then you still have forward. So it'll be Fournier, CJ, Barrett. I see what you're saying. So you're saying, okay, so it would make, for it to really work in our favor, it'd probably be best if you included Burks and Fournier, really.
Yeah, that's why I'm more comfortable with Fournier. Like, if I'm going to bring CJ in, I'm like, Fournier has to go. That's my opinion. Because I feel like CJ can just slide in for Fournier, and then the extra guy that goes, then Cam Reddish to take that spot, and then the minutes stay the same for Grimes, etc.
That's a good point. Yeah, you're right about that. And then worst case is the worst. We can buy out Kemba if anything. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with you, Ryan.
How's Fournier's contract though? Isn't it like an extra year past McCollum's? I don't know if they're gonna want.
I'll pull up
right. Extra year.
I'll pull up right now. No, it's
Fournier should be 4 years. About what?
But that 3 years not guaranteed.
Yeah,
it's team option.
It's a team option for the 4th year. So the thing is, they would still save money. they would still save money, right? I mean, at least they would save money this season anyway. Like, cause it would just kind of be stretched out.
They're trying to re-sign Simmons, but when is Simmons up for his contract too? That's another question.
Right. They
I don't
would
think
still
he's up.
like if
is
he
it this year?
like if you do Burks and Evan Fournier, you'll still end up saving money because Burks is a team option in a couple of years, and that's like a year faster, a year sooner than CJ's contract ends up expiring. So you at least kind of save $10 million in that regard. So
I don't know.
all right.
We'll see, I guess.
Yeah.
Anyway, let me get back.
All right,
Let me
man.
get back to work, guys. You guys have a good night, man.
All right.
I'll continue
you too,
listening
man.
on my headsets. All right.
I got you. The graphic is on the YouTube, man. If you want to see what I'm talking about, I have the graphic on the YouTube so you can physically see what I'm talking about instead of just like trying to. For those listening on podcast form on SoundCloud, iTunes, Google Play, and Stitcher, head to the YouTube and watch the show on YouTube. It has some graphics to kind of illustrate what I'm talking about right now. All right, cool. All right, cool. I meant midnight talking about trades. I feel like we talk all about the really recent trade.
Yeah, man. You got a super chat though.
We got a super chat. Shout out to my guy Rodney Sanders. The $5 super chat says IQ needs more shots. Let him play the 2. He plays well with Rose or a deuce. CJ's equals less minutes for deuce. Still think we need to stretch 4 or 5 more than a PG. Things that make you go, more than a PG. I think in addition to.
Yeah, that'd be nice in addition to like a point guard and a stretch 4 or 5.
Yeah, I want a point guard and a stretch 5 would be on my Christmas list. If you got a point guard and a stretch 5, I'd be happy.
Facts.
I'd be happy because then Randle and RJ would run amok going to the lane. Run a muck.
For real.
Especially have a point guard who can play defense and set the team. Yeah, I'm with that.
Yeah, it would definitely be a different dynamic because you would have Mitch as the starter where he would of course he's going to clog up the lane, but he's going to protect the rim. Mm-hmm. He's going to get you rebounds and this and that. Then you take Mitch out and you put in a stretch 5. That changes the whole dynamic. Now you have more space on the floor. And if you keep RJ and Randle out there, like you said, they're gonna wreak havoc.
Right. I feel you on that. And really low key, Ronnie said, I'm tired of seeing IQ play the 1. I just want him to shoot. That's pretty really what he's saying. He's like, he's having too much trouble trying to figure out how to play point guard and figuring out how to shoot at the same damn time. And I agree with you. He's having problems right now, but hopefully he gets it together. All right. Shout out to the chat, man. Shout out to B. Willis. Shout out to Alexander. Shout out to B. Civilized. Shout out to Myth. Shout out to Dro Love to Hate. And everybody else is rocking with the KOT show. If you like the show so far, please hit that like button, hit the subscribe button. Also, shout out to Kimmy Lowe. I think I saw Conan Ben Loyal earlier today. So shout out to you. And also shout out to D Nice. That is our show, man. I think it's time to wrap it up. Next show is going to be tomorrow night. Another late night show. Knicks versus these Nuggets. Strap up. Be prepared. Because you already know what it is. The Jokic is no joke. Pun intended, all right? So like, he has our number, so it could get rough tomorrow on the back-to-back. But
yes,
we're going to be here, tears and all, talking about these Knicks, all right? All right, man, all right. So, you know what? Let's end it there. Ryan, let them know where they can find you, sir.
You can find me on Instagram at Sir G is Chillin'.
Sir G is Chillin'.
That's SIRG is CHILLIN. You can also find me on my new page, Sir G's Corner, where I talk about Knicks basketball and also I talk about other sports and in general sometimes just to change it up a little bit. That's SIRGSCORNER, and you can also find me on Twitter at Ryan G KOT.
All those places.
Yes, sir.
All right. And you already know, man. You can find us on the KOT show on Twitter. You already know that. Nick of Time Show on Instagram. Nick of Time Show on Facebook. Also check the blogs. We got some new blogs coming up. We got some blogs from Mikey. We got Ken writing up a storm. So definitely go to the blog. Go to nickoftimeshow.com to read some of your favorite Knicks content writers contribute to Knicks Nation, so definitely do that. And you already know, if you want those snapbacks, head to nicktimeshow.com/catalog to get your snapbacks, tees, whatever else you want. All right? All righty. Then that is our show, guys. And you already know what it is, man. As always,
shout out the Worldwide West. Everywhere we go, we leave a worldwide mess.
It's a mess out here, all right? That is our show. We are out of here.